Hey guys, welcome back to Bonita Lifestyle Podcast. My name is Alma, and you can find me on Instagram at Alma Bonita, and now here on Spotify. Hey guys, today I want to talk about self reminders. I want to share with you guys the self reminders I remind myself of when I'm going through it, because there's days when we go through it, right? It could be like family wise, relationship wise, work wise, or just life in general. So I'd like to share today like the self reminders, because I have a list on my phone where like if I'm going through something, I like to always look back at that list to remind myself, and that everything's a process, and that it's okay to go through stuff. So let's start. Okay. So I'm just gonna basically read off like most of the ones I have. And some of them are cringy, so I won't talk about the cringy ones. But I'll say most of them. I'll read most of them. So for the first self reminders, I put, you can't change your past or people, but you can change your present and your future. So you're in charge of that. Another self reminder, someone's opinion of you doesn't have to become your reality. I like to remind myself that when I feel a little bit like, because people or family could have opinions of you, or even like if you're in a relationship, romantic relationship, you could be going through something, and like you you automatically identify yourself with it. Like you think, oh, like maybe what they're saying about me, it's true. So I like to go back to these and like remind myself. I like this one a lot for when I'm going through stuff like that. Someone's opinion of you doesn't have to become your reality. And then on my other one, I put on my next self reminder, I put, if you're with someone based on your emotions, then when your emotions change, you are most likely to not be together. But if it makes logical sense to be together, then you guys are most likely to stay together, even if your emotions change, because the logic would still be there. So this reminder, I got it from a podcast from Layla Hermosi, I think that's her name. I thought it was pretty, like a pretty good reminder to like, if you're entering in a romantic relationship, I feel like this is a good reminder to actually ask yourself, am I in this relationship because of a certain feeling, or like because it makes sense? Because sometimes like we go through, like we go in relationships thinking, like we go in a relationship like when it's like, oh, like the honeymoon could be like, oh, like the best, like you feel like things are not like they're always going to be perfect or whatever. But then stuff start happening, and you're like, oh, you know what, like I don't think this is the person. So that's kind of how I took it, like um that if it makes sense to be together because you guys want to grow and be together, instead of just based on a feeling. Because it's true, I feel like emotions always change. Like you could, it's like even on a daily basis, like you could be like really happy one day, and then based on that you make decisions, and then next thing you know you're like going through it, and you're like, oh, why did I make that decision? I shouldn't have done that. But you're reacting over emotions. So I like that reminder. And then the next reminder I have, if you don't struggle, you don't learn. So when I'm going through my struggles, Like I said, it could be relationship wise, family wise, friendships, work wise. I like to remind myself that struggle is my friend. If you don't struggle, you don't learn. Like learning to have a that good relationship with struggle, like seeing it like okay, an opportunity to grow. Like I feel like that relieves like the heaviness of like, oh, like this, I'm struggling with this, oh my god, like I'm never gonna get out of this. And instead see it like, okay, I'm growing, and just, go through it. And then my next self reminder, I have: the best way to be valued is to add value. And I like this one because for me it means like even through my podcast, I feel like I'm adding value to the lives of others through what I share, through my experiences. So I feel like me adding value, like I receive it back from, you know like life, or like anything. It could be like from friendships, from my kids. Like you get it back. Maybe not from who you think you'll get it back, but you get it back. So I like to remind myself the best way to be valued is to add value. How can you add value to the lives of others? How can you make somebody's day? How can you make somebody's life better? That's how I see it. And my next self reminder is: change your relationship with failure and mistakes. Instead, look at it as feedback and opportunities to grow and improve. Embrace it. So I love that reminder too, for when I'm going through it. and and sometimes when like I I go sometimes, because sometimes like you'll go like backwards a little bit. You're like, oh, like I remember when I made this mistake and blah blah. And you kind of put yourself down instead of like, okay, it's in the past. Embrace it. Just learn from it. Get whatever lesson you were supposed to get and move on. So when I see that one, like when I go through like past mistakes, I'm like, okay, I read that. I go through my list because I forget everything I have. And when I read that, I'm like, okay, I'm good. I'm good. Like I'm going through it, and it's just an opportunity to grow. So yes, change your relationship with failure and mistakes. Instead look at it as feedback and opportunities to grow and improve. Embrace it. My next self reminder: break yourself free in your mind first, and the physical manifestation will follow. I think I heard this reminder from. So I have a list on my phone that I have as self reminders for when I'm going through it, and everything I hear is either from a book or an audio of like those inspirational, motivational videos. So I got that from there. It says, break yourself free in your mind first, and the physical manifestation will follow. So what that means is like, since life is mental, like if you like we have to break ourselves free in our mind. Like we have to be in good terms and relationships with everybody in our mind in order for that to come to fruition. Basically, it could be anything you want. So it's like, I feel like I mean that's how I understand it. It's like, okay, if I believe I could have this, or if I believe I can accomplish this in my mind first, it will then manifest in physical form. So I like to remind myself that when I'm trying to manifest something in my life that maybe it's been taking a while, and I'm like, okay, let me rehearse it in my mind. And that's how I do that. My next self reminder is I am in charge of my emotions, not my emotions of me. Your mind has to be stronger than your emotions. I think I heard this one from a podcast. I don't know if I think I heard it from Tim Grover, and I also like it because especially like when you let your emotions, like when you're having like when you're going through it, like your emotions can take over sometimes, but like reminding ourselves that our mind is stronger than our emotions, I feel like that can help a lot. Like for me, like it brings me back to center, even though like it might take me a while. I'm not gonna say like, oh yeah, like as soon as I remind myself of this, I'm like I'm good, because it's not like that. Like it might take a while. Like I have to repeat it to myself multiple times during the day when I'm going through it, and then I'm like, okay, like my mind is stronger than my emotions. My mind is stronger than my emotions. So yeah, that helps me. And then my next self reminder I have: heal your mind and you heal your body. I think I read this in a book. I think from I forgot the name of the book. It was an audiobook that I found on YouTube one time, that it talks about the power of your subconscious mind, and it talks about how like we could heal like the what basically of the power of our subconscious mind, which like whatever we believe to be true, like our the power of our subconscious mind like brings it into fruition. So if you feel like, oh, like this is gonna make me sick, then based on your belief that that's gonna make you sick because whatever, it makes you sick because you believe it to be true. So whatever we believe to be true is what we experience. And I really believe it because like I started backtracking and I'm like, oh, no wonder like when I used to believe this was true, it and manifested it, and that's what I was experiencing over and over again because I had that limiting belief of maybe me getting sick with um a certain food, and it would happen like every time. So I like that reminder too. My next self reminder is let me see. Oh, this one like that I'm gonna share. It says go anyways and figure it out as you go. I like to remind myself that, especially when I started the podcast, I was like, oh my God, like you try to prepare yourself so much, like in something that you feel like you have to be completely ready. You feel like you have to know it all in order to start. But in reality, taking imperfect action is what you're gonna build that confidence and evolve from that. So I definitely this is one of my favorite reminders um when I'm gonna start something. It could be anything. It could be a workout. It could be, well, when I started the podcast too, I'm like, okay, go anyways and figure it out as you go. I feel like that also um you practice your faith because you're like, okay, I have faith that this is gonna, you know, work out in my favor, no matter how it turns out. It's having that faith of going anyways and figuring out as you go. My next self reminder: um, work on your weaknesses. I remember this self reminder. I think I believe I got it from one of Napoleon Hill's books. I think it was the Outwitting the Devil. This reminder, um, so like whenever we want to overcome something, because that's what I was talking about in the book. Like we're supposed to work on our weaknesses, like to evolve, to get better at anything you desire. So like if you feel like you lack confidence, work on that. if you feel like you're fearful, dig in that hole and like, okay, why am I fearful of this and that? Instead of avoiding your fear, instead of like ignoring it, okay, why am I fearful of this? It's working on those fears to overcome them. It could be insecurities, lack of self-belief. Is digging in those holes to like actually be better, like working on our weaknesses. That's what makes us better. So for me, like I feel like I feel like I have self-belief, but then sometimes like my confidence, I feel like I'm more of like a little doubtful. So I that's one of the ones I'm working on the most. And then my next self reminder, self control is strength, right thought is mastery, calmness is power. Say within your heart, peace be still. I think I heard this in a podcast, um, but I like to have it just in case. Like right now, I can't think of anything of why I like this reminder, but I still have it. I have a lot of them for no reason. And then my next self reminder, the power of intention. The power of intention, that is something that I remind myself when I don't feel like recording for the podcast. I'm like, okay, like I don't know what else to talk about. And I remind myself, okay, what's your intention of starting the podcast? And keep going. So and then anything I do in life, like now I feel like I have a of an intention in back of it. So like even when I work out, I'm like, okay, what's my intention for this workout? Because I want to be stronger, because I want to be healthier. So I remind myself of that. I love that reminder, the power of intention. And then my next self reminder, I have self mastery is self honesty. And this one, I love this one so much because it's really true. Like when we get to that level of self mastery from like from being honest with ourselves, because sometimes we could be like, oh yeah, no, I'm good, like I don't need to work on that. You're basically lying to yourself instead of, okay, you know what, like I am weak in these areas, I do need to work in this area. Okay, I made this mistake. um there was a lesson that you were supposed to learn and maybe you're not accepting it. I feel like that is self honesty, like saying to yourself like, okay, like I need work, recognizing that you need work in yourself, that you're not perfect, that and that's for like all of us. Like once you see that in yourself, like you're able to see it in other people, like okay, like they need they also need work within themselves, like and I feel like that's also something that helps us forgive quicker, because sometimes we're so harsh on other people, but because we're so hard on ourselves, and we're hard like we're harder to forgive instead of being quick to forgive. And I feel like that's important, like to really have a clean heart and peace of mind, like forgive quick. So yeah, self mastery is self honesty. Be honest with yourselves about anything and everything. And then on my next self reminder, I have my spirit is unbreakable. So this is another self reminder that I love so much, because sometimes we identify ourselves so much with the person that we are, like like the human part of us, but we forget that our spirit is the one that lives forever, that is God within us. and that part of us is unbreakable. It's like our body, our human person, like someday it's gonna die, and it dies, but our spirit, remains unbreakable, because it's energy. It's not, like physical form, like our bodies. And that's one thing that I remind myself, like also when I'm going through it, because I'm like, okay, because sometimes it's hard to not let your emotions take over, but it's reminding yourself, like, okay, my spirit is unbreakable. I'm going through this, but I'm stronger. I'm stronger than that fear. I'm stronger than that obstacle. I'm stronger than that um you know challenge. It's like reminding ourselves that our spirit is unbreakable. So that's one of my favorite ones too. My next self reminder is, you get what you give. This one for me, I like it. What it means to me is that if you give, if you give kindness, you get kindness back. If you give encouragement to others, you get it back. Maybe not from the same people or person, but you get it back one way or another. So it's also the same way. If you give hate, you're gonna get it back one way or another. If you give, if you project fear, that's giving fear to others based on you know on your fears. So you're projecting, you're sending fear to others, and what happens? Life gives it back to you one way or another. So I like that reminder. You get what you give. So let's remember to give hope, give encouragement, give kindness, give love, and we will get it back as well. The next reminder, it says, the world is not as it is, it's as you are. You are what you think. I love this reminder. I think I got it from a book as well. Um, so, what this reminder for me means is that whatever I focus on, whatever I think of over and over again, so if I'm thinking, you know, happy thoughts of like, oh, like of getting better at a certain thing, or of growing my podcast, or of becoming a better mom, becoming a better version of me, like how can I add value to others. So when I focus on those things, I feel like that's what I manifest more, like more ways of like how to be better. But it also means like whatever we focus on, like it could be negative. So if you're focusing on, fearful things as well, like I said on the other reminder, is what we get back. What we constantly think of, we get back. I also have on my vision board um, a reminder there that says, the happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. So if we really take the time to really think of how are our thoughts, are they, empowering us, or are they um, shrinking us, or destructive? Like, are they being destructive thoughts, or encouraging thoughts? Like reminding ourselves of that. That's what this self reminder makes me remember. Like, okay, like focus on the good, focus on getting better, um, to get better. And then my next self reminder, and this one I found it on. I think it's from a podcast as well. It says, "You are not who you are when everything is going your way. You are who you are when life doesn't go your way. That's when you show your true colors. And this one is true. I could relate because, like, when we're good, when we're happy, it's easy to think positive thoughts. It's easy to be happy. It's easy to be kind to others. But it's when we're going through like a really negative moment in our lives where like that truly reflects who we truly are. Like it, like even with other people, like when we're going through it, it's like, are you projecting what you're going through like to others, or are you like, or are you strong as you say you are when you're going through it? Because some people could be like really really assholes like when it comes, like when they're going through like stuff, they won't touch their hearts to like be rude and negative with you. And that talks more about how they see themselves than than ourselves, basically, if that makes sense. I feel like I understand myself. I hopefully somebody out there understands me, because sometimes I struggle to explain what I'm trying to say. But yeah, you are not who you are when everything is going your way. You are who you are when life doesn't go your way. That's when you show your true colors. So yeah. And then the next self reminder: take imperfect action towards creating the life that you desire. I have that one a lot, like in different, like I wrote it in different ways because I've heard it over and over again, like through books or audios or podcasts. So that's basically like the other ones that I've talked about. Take imperfect action towards creating the life that you desire. And then my next self reminder is: you build confidence by stacking your wins, by saying yes to what's going to make you better. The workout, the clean eating, the reading, the saying no to what doesn't serve you, the fat foods, the lack of exercise, and the alcohol. So that one was one of my big self reminders when I was doing the 75 hard, to remind myself, okay, you want to build that confidence, keep going, work out, eat good, read, drink your water, and all that. So yeah, you build confidence by stacking your wins, by saying yes to what's going to make you better, the workout, the clean eating, the reading, and saying no to what doesn't serve you, the fat foods, the lack of exercise, and the alcohol. Another self reminder: to have a rainbow, you also need rain. I don't remember when I wrote this, but it's there. Okay, my next self reminder is: bending the rules or your standards for someone is only doing them a disservice. So for me, what this means um, is is that like people pleasing. Like sometimes you feel like, oh, like I have to people please so that I could be liked, or like maybe you have to tell the truth to somebody about like if they're lacking somewhere, or like they're not doing what they're supposed to, and you think by being nice, like by not telling them, the truth, you're being nice, but we're actually doing them a disservice. Instead of telling them, okay, you know what, um you've been slacking on this, or like, I mean, it doesn't have to be in those words, but like you could tell them, you know what, like I've noticed you've been, not working very good on this, or like you haven't been, you know um like, I don't know, like it could be like, for example, me, I take it like 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 as a mom. I feel like sometimes like as parents, like we break rules to, or we lower our standards to not make our kids feel bad, or to, yeah, like basically to not make them feel bad, or because sometimes that mom guilt, that parent guilt sometimes kicks in, and it's like, oh no, like it's remembering that, bending the rules or your standards for someone is only doing them a disservice. So we're basically doing them a disservice by not being truthful. Like, okay, like, you know what? Like, you need to do this because, you know, or either you're gonna, it could be like, with my kids with homework, like, oh, like make sure you're on it, or like you need to clean your room, or this and that, which sometimes it's hard to make them clean the room, but yeah, like I take it in that way. Like it could be even telling a friend, hey girl, like, or your guy friend, hey, I've noticed you've been slacking on this, like, like keep them accountable, instead of like, oh no, it's okay, like you don't have to do all that, like, or whatever. Like, no, like we do a person a disservice by not being honest, if that makes sense. Okay. I know I kind of rumble a lot, and I still end up in the same thing. Yeah. Okay, so for my next self reminder, become the person you would look up to. This one, I love it so much, and it resonates so much because for me, like, bettering myself is like, and why I'm bettering myself is to be that person I needed when I was, you know, a little kid, a teenager, a young adult. Sometimes we need that one person, but we think that like it has to be somebody outside of us. But like me, like now that I'm more mature, I realize that like like I was supposed to be that for myself, even if my parents weren't that kind of parents that were inspiring, or like that they knew how to, you know lift me up with encouraging words, or like, you know you know for them. And I get it, like they didn't grow up knowing all that as well. So understanding them has been really big for me. Understanding that they also didn't have that support, that encouragement growing up, so they don't know how to give it. So for me, it was like, okay, I need to learn how to give that to me, be that version of me that I look up to. And I feel like that will reflect on my kids, so they also could look up to me and be like, okay, like my mom, um is a positive mom, is hard worker. She only sees like how can something work out instead of giving up. For me, that's what that meant when I wrote it down. I think it was from a podcast as well. Become the person you would look up to. So that's one thing, I'm so passionate about working on myself every day to be that better version of me. And yeah, so for the next one, for my next self reminder is, what kind of person must I become to achieve all I want? So for me, that means becoming. So for example, like if I want to be obviously a better version of me, who do I need to become? I have to like take that inventory in myself and be like, okay, uh like discard what doesn't serve you. Like discard what doesn't serve me is like, okay, I feel like maybe like limiting beliefs that we like unconsciously we took from, our families, our our caregivers, our families, or society, or uncles or friends, sometimes we take limiting beliefs that we don't realize that we adopted from other people. So for me, that's what that means is, okay, so what kind of person must I become to achieve all I want, especially when it comes to, you know maybe getting attracting better relationships. Like that's one of my other big ones. Is like, okay, to attract better relationships, who do I need to become? So since we attract what we give, it's like, okay, I need to be kinder, quicker to forgive. I need to be, an encouraging person to others, and so on and so forth. So that's what it means to me. The next self reminder I have: practice discipline every day with your food and working out. I've been slacking on that one, but I definitely need to remind myself. Practice discipline every day with your food and working out. I think I got that one from a podcast too. No, from one of the motivational videos. Excuse me. Okay, so my next self reminder. Um if you don't struggle, you don't learn. That's kind of like similar to the other one I had. And then my next self reminder, I also, this one I got it from a podcast from Bedros Koulian, or I forget. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but it's something like that. He has a podcast. I remember him saying, "No matter what you encounter, it's gonna be a process. So finish it." So for me, what that means, it's like no matter how many challenges or adversity I encounter, and like anything that I want to do, like for me, it means keep going. It's gonna be a process. It's gonna be a journey. It's not gonna be easy, but finish it. Don't quit just because it gets hard. Don't quit just because you feel like you can't find a way out. Just finish it. Let me see. And then my next self reminder, it says be service oriented. Ask yourself, how can I be of service to others? This one I think I also got from an audio, a motivational audio thing, which I like to remind myself, especially when I started the podcast. I'm like, how can I add value to the lives of others through my podcast? And for me, this is a way of adding value to you guys by sharing, now, like things like this, or it could be anything, talking about family wise, or what works for me that could probably help you guys as well. And then my next self reminder, I put, if you don't sacrifice for it, that means you really don't want it. For me, that one's important, um, because sometimes we want something so bad. Like it could be a relationship, it can be a job, it could be a business. Like we want it, but do we want it that bad? Because it's like if you want it so bad, you're gonna sacrifice. You're gonna put in the work in order to get it. But sometimes we're so complacent that we're like, oh no, never mind. It's gonna be hard. Never mind. I don't want it, or I don't want that relationship because it's gonna be a lot of work, or I don't want to start that business because it's a lot of, this and that. So that's how I understand it as, if you don't sacrifice for it, that means you really don't want it. Okay. Next self reminder. Let me see. If if I don't do what I have to do, my life will suck. So keep going, keep working on yourself, keep working out, keep investing in yourself. Quitting is not an option. I forgot I wrote this one, but I think I must have wrote it when I was going through like a wanting to quit moment, I guess, from like working out. So yeah, if I don't do what I have to do, my life will suck. So keep going, keep working on yourself, keep working out, keep investing in yourself. Quitting is not an option. So yeah, that's a good self reminder. And then my next self reminder, I think I got this next self reminder from a podcast. I don't remember where, but it's TGIA. Thank God I'm alive. So I like that one. Thank God I'm alive. I feel like that's a good daily self reminder. And then my next self reminder I have, I must, I can, and I will. I must, I can, and I will. I think I got that one also from a motivational speech audio thingy. And then my next self reminder I have, I deserve the life of my dreams and I'm going to have it. I feel like that reminds me of keep pushing forward. You know, if I really want to accomplish my dreams. And then my next self reminder, let me see. My next self reminder I have, don't postpone your peace and your happiness. Enjoy the process. Don't waste moments of opposition or when things are hard. I like that one. I feel like, okay, let me read it again. Don't postpone your peace and your happiness. Enjoy the process. Don't waste moments of opposition or when things are hard. So for me, that reminds me to keep going even though it's hard, because on the other side of that struggle, that hard moment, is that peace, it's that joy. And then my next self reminder, how will you choose to deal with adversity? I remember when I was going through it a lot, because sometimes as a parent, you could be going through it really, really bad. And I remember reminding me of this one over and over again when I was going through it. How will you choose to deal with adversity? How will you choose to deal with adversity? And I just kept going. I just kept going. When I would read that, I'm like, okay, I would ask myself, how can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? And keep going, keep going. And then my next self reminder I have, be the parent you needed when you were a kid. That's what I that's what love would do. Oh, I think from Dr. Joe Dispenza. Because he has a lot of like good, not quotes, or I mean, he says like, what would love do? Like whenever you're going through something hard, ask yourself what would love do? And I remember when I was going through it with my kids, I would remind myself, be the parent you needed when you were a kid. And so then that's why at the end I put, that's what love would do. Okay, so my next self reminder is, there has to be trials and tribulations in life. Every step is necessary for our growth. That's also another self reminder that I have for hard moments. And then my next self reminder is, Life is always working out for me, even when it seems like it's not. I love that one too. And then my next self reminder: remember, whenever you feel depressed, anxious, hopeless, or fearful, it's not bad to feel like that. It's just our spirit communicating to us it's time to take action. Emotions are action signals. I think this one I got from Tony Robbins because I like how he talks a lot about how to see those emotions when you feel depressed, anxious, or hopeless, fearful, to remind ourselves that they're action signals. Like, maybe you need to take action in something, and sometimes when we don't do what we're supposed to, so the emotions take over us. But I feel like having that strong mindset is so important to like not let those emotions take over us. I think back when I wrote this was, I mean, I like this reminder, but I think it was more when I was letting my emotions take over me. That's why I'm like, I have to do 75 hard so I could be mentally tough. And it's been the best thing ever. And then my next self reminder I have: speaking my truth does not mean I'm a mean person. It means I love you so much I need to let you know when you're falling back. So I forgot why I wrote this, but it makes sense. Speaking my truth does not mean I'm a mean person. It means I love you so much I need to let you know when you're falling back. And then, yeah, that's basically being truthful to, like I said, it could be, you know, family members, your romantic partner, your kids. I feel like speaking our truth, because sometimes we feel like guilty. Oh no, if I tell them this, they're gonna feel bad, and it's like no, like sometimes, yeah, it might hurt their feelings, but we have to say, like what we what we're feeling, or like maybe because they're falling back in something, like let them know. And then my next self reminder I have: I am not what the world says I am. I am what God says I am. I am peace, love, joy, victorious, amazing, valuable. I think I used to remind myself this when I used to feel, when I was in my victim mindset of thinking that people were against me. I will remind myself this a lot. I am not what the world says I am. I am what God says I am, and I am peace, love, joy, victorious, amazing, valuable. And I feel like it still makes sense because sometimes we could fall back in those patterns of like, believing what other people think of us, and we unconsciously make it our identity, and we shouldn't. Like reminding ourselves that we're more than, like, we're not that, like we are, you know, what God says we are, which is peace, love, joy, victorious, amazing, valuable. Let me see. My next self reminder I have: every step we take is necessary to learn a little bit more about ourselves. That one, I think I wrote it down because I think too, because like when I was going through like certain changes in my life, like it's crazy how it's like when you start changing into a different person, I feel like, you start shedding, you know old ways of being, limiting beliefs. Like it's weird how it could be painful. And I remember like reminding me this to like to keep going, reminding myself that every step we take is necessary to learn, to grow. So yeah. And then my next self reminder I have, there are no mistakes, only lessons to be learned. There are no mistakes, only lessons to be learned. That's a good one to really remind ourselves, because sometimes when we make a mistake, we feel that something like we're quicker to judge ourselves and be hard on ourselves, instead of, okay, how can I learn and grow from this? Asking ourselves those questions when we go through those moments. Okay, how can I learn and grow from this? Instead of beating ourselves up. And then let me see. My next self reminder I have, love is patience, love is forgiving, love is humble, love is kindness, love is courage, love is hard, also soft, love is accepting. I love this one. This is a really good self reminder, an everyday self reminder, I feel like. Love is patience, love is forgiving, love is humble, love is kindness, love is courage, love is hard, also soft, love is accepting. I love that. And then next self reminder I have, um, my next self reminder that I don't remember where I got it from. It says, I am responsible for taking care of myself. I am responsible for giving me love, respect, trust, time, and everything else my soul desires. Find comfort within yourself, nurture yourself. So for me, I feel like I used to remind myself that a lot, because for a long time I didn't realize um, how much I was looking for that outside of me, in friendships, in romantic relationships, instead of giving that to myself. I was looking for it outside of me. So I had to constantly remind myself of that when I was feeling a certain way. So yeah, my next self reminder I have, chase greatness within yourself, not others. So that kind of like relates to the previous self reminder. Chase greatness within yourself, not others. So I had to constantly remind myself that, because sometimes we seek so much validation from others. Like, oh my God, it's draining, because it's our job to do that for ourselves. And then the cool thing about it is that when we give it to ourselves, since that's um whatever we give ourselves is what we get back from others. So like, when you start doing that for yourself, then other people start doing that for you. Maybe not how you want to, but I mean, I've noticed it a lot in my life. A lot of positive change in that, when like once I started loving myself, respecting myself, giving myself that trust, and looking up to myself. I feel like other people also do that. It's pretty cool. And then my next self reminder, I feel like it also connects with the previous one. It says, I give myself permission to be myself fully. I feel like I struggled a lot in the past with that, because I felt like I had to be somebody I wasn't to fit in, you know, in friendships, romantic relationships, with the family. Like, it's crazy how much I didn't know how to be myself. So yes, remind ourselves, I give myself permission to be myself fully. I love that. The next self reminder, it also connects with that one. I'm telling you, I was going through it. So like, a lot of these self reminders are kind of like the same, but in different words. I choose myself today, tomorrow, and always. I choose myself today, tomorrow, and always. And then the next self reminder, stay true to yourself. There's another one. I'm telling you, I was going through it. And then my next self reminder, I have, to lead others, you must first learn to lead yourself. So for that, like, that really hit me hard when, like, for me, I took it more like for my kids. I'm like, I have to lead by example. I have to learn to lead myself, like, being, because sometimes it's easy to tell our kids, oh, like, you need to do this or you need to do that, but yet we're not doing it for ourselves. Or like, you shouldn't be eating a lot, but then we could be eating a lot. Or you should be exercising more. Look at you, this and that. I mean, I never told my kids that because I actually struggled with that when I was younger. My I had family that would call me fat when I wasn't fat. And I would take it, oh my God, I would take it to the butt, and like they freaking traumatized me. So then it took me a while, like as an adult, to like break out of that and not shame my body, like not shame myself for my body, for my imperfections, because I always thought like, oh yeah, I'm fat because they tell me this, and oh my God, it was a struggle. But yeah, to lead others, you must first learn to lead yourself, and that's with everything, like leading ourselves with being disciplined and working out and eating and leading by example in anything we do, like being kind to others. That's also leading by example, I mean, for me. And then the next self reminder I have, um let go of what you can't control. Let go of what you can't control. I like that one too. And then my next self reminder, adversity is how we grow. So yeah, it took me a while to like see adversity, challenges, obstacles as part of life, like it's growth. Like I used to think, oh, like going through stuff like that was was not like, that means my life was messed up. But no, learning to be at peace with adversity, challenges, obstacles, it really, like for me, it helped me a lot to like see that with a different lens of like, okay, it's, it sucks, like I'm going through this, but I'm growing, I'm learning something from this. And yeah, so always remind ourselves, that everything's gonna be okay, to keep pushing forward. So for today, I wanted to do this little podcast of self reminders. I feel like it's something we all need. We need to remind ourselves that, it's okay to struggle, and it's part of life. Honestly, it's part of life. Like once you learn to see that, okay, it's part of life, you know, and that there's no shortcut to it. It's just keep going. That we just have to keep going because yeah. So yeah, hopefully that helps you guys in some way. Thank you guys for tuning in, and remember, let's get better. Let's be better. Whatever that looks like for you, you know, do it. Let's read more, let's exercise more, drink more water, everything to make us better. All right, guys. I'm gonna post this on Monday. So happy Monday. I wanted to post an extra video, not a video, audio today. Just to have like an encouraging start for the week. So yeah, guys, let's keep going, pushing forward. Let's get better. And God bless us all. All right, until next time, guys. Bye.